Hello guys and welcome to another Queen Roadkill Candy handheld gaming system review. Today we're going to do the Game Boy Color. Now I know a lot of you had this as a child growing up. This is mine that I had as a child growing up. I had the yellow edition, which I thought was perfect because it matched the Pikachu yellow version. So there's several accessories with this. There's link cables. They came in all different colors, so you could match it with whatever color system you had. This one here that I have linked to the old Game Boy and Game Boy Color. So if you're trading Pokemon, you could trade with having blue version or yellow version in here to the old system with the new system. Now if we turn it over, there's the clip right here. It holds 2 batteries. It snaps on just like that. The back here is not as delicate as, say, a Game Boy Advance, which they really snap off. You have your little Game Boy Color information here on the back. There was a barcode here, but it's been so well used. Currently I have Pokemon Pinball in here. Just pops out like that. You can look inside there, the deep crevice. Now, on top here, this is infrared, so that if you had another Game Boy Color, you didn't need the link cable. You could just point it at each other. Of course, if someone's like this or that or whatever, it wouldn't always pick it up. Some of them were really good, like mine. I could be like this, and the other player would still pick me up. Other friends, though, they would have to have it directly in there. Otherwise, it just wouldn't pick it up. Now, when we look at the side here, this is where the link cables would go in. Right there. Of course, here we have volume. Down here, we had the AC adapter, which is 3 volts in. And then you had your headphones. I remember with the manual, it said you had to use special Nintendo headphones. And originally, when I used headphones in it, it wouldn't work. And then I think it was, oh god, it was probably around just before the Game Boy Advance came out. You could start using normal headphones. I don't know if I had bad headphones or what was going on, but it seemed to do just what the book said. So here's the on and off. And of course, here's the screen, and I'm going to turn this on. Of course, with all your Game Boys right here, you have the light showing how much power you have going on. Screen's pretty good. It's, you know, if you go like that, you can't see what's going on or anything like that, but it doesn't really matter because it's in color. It's so good. With this game, Pokemon Pinball, you can choose to play on red or blue. I'm just going to hit red because I'm doing this all one-handed because I'm holding the camera. I haven't played this game in years. But that's the sound and that's the picture. This particular game here, if you put a battery in there, which has to be a AAA Rumbles, which was it was a cool feature and all that. All my friends always seem to have lost the backs though, and so by the time they traded me their old version of a game, I didn't get backs on them, so I didn't leave batteries in them. Now, when it comes to the library games, there's several different games. Most of the Game Boy Color games are it was the trendy thing, right? So that you could see the inside, you could see the battery there. You can see that. This one you can't see the back really. Let me find one that I can show you the back. So you can see like the chip in there and everything. You can see all the moving parts. Well, they're not really moving, but in theory the electricity's moving in here, so there's moving electricity you just can't see. Of course, because it's a Nintendo Game Boy Color, you could use all the old games in it. Let's go through some of the Game Boy Color games that you see here, just so you have an idea of what's in the library. Here is Zelda Ages, and it's a really good game. I never finished as a kid. I got stuck always. Not as close as when Zelda Seasons, like that one, I got stuck way sooner than Ages. If you beat this game, you get the other game with altered ending. But it was one of those things kind of like with Pokemon where there was two of them that came out at the same time. Spy vs. Spy. It's great two-player. It's unusual by yourself. There's Hamtaro. You find hamsters. It's just one of those games where your friends are missing. Resident Evil Gaiden, which is said to be the worst Resident Evil game, but I want to try out the Resident Evil 2 port for Tiger and see if that's worse. This game here, if you don't have a Game Boy Color, which is unusual in my city, but if you don't, you can get it on a Virgin phone. Virgin has redone this game. So, actually, the weird thing is, basically every game that is a good franchise that has a horrible handheld version, Virgin will have that on their phone. So you can find all the horrible games on Virgin. So, there's Monster Ranchers Explorer. Of course, you can always get your whatever in one carts. This one, it came in a box and it said it was from McDonald's. I doubt that because McDonald's making pirated carts? It might say 19 in 1, but it's one of those ones where it's like 5 in 1 and it repeats those 5 a bunch of times. There's, of course, Yu-Gi-Oh! And then this game here is kind of like Pokemon. You collect monsters. This one you can merge them. I guess it's more like Devil Survivor because you can merge your monsters and stuff in this one. So it's pretty good. It's definitely pretty good. You can also use the older games. So you can use any of the Game Boy games that you can get your hands on there before it. It's basically just the Game Boy Advance games you wouldn't be able to use in it. So you're going to be able to use Game Boy and Game Boy Color. If you had a Game Boy Advance, you'd be able to use this and down. Because Nintendo back in the day was really nice and made things backwards compatible. I mean, I guess they kind of did that with Wii U being able to play Wii games, but I don't think it plays GameCube. A lot of the Pokemon games did come out around the time Game Boy Color came out, but I don't know why. I guess they were nice and realized that not all the children are going to have Game Boy Color, and some of us just had still the big bulky Game Boy at that time. So those came out even though at the same time, like this one, it matches. That's, you know, matching set type thing going on. But there was a special edition Pikachu one. It was the same yellow, but then it would have had blue backing, and there was a Pikachu. It was either this side or it might have been over here near the power. There's really not as much to say about the Game Boy Color because so many people have this system. But I did forget that it does come with a charm port. This is the competition badge for the Pokemon 2000 Stadium Tour, which with the Game Boy games you could play them. It was really good because you could verse in 3D and these were pixeled creatures. So anyways, I'm going to let you go because that's the review for Game Boy Color. I do suggest, you know, if you don't want a Game Boy Advanced and you want a Game Boy Color, or you have the DS version where you can play Game Boy Advance but you can't play Game Boy Color and down, I do suggest picking one up. There is the Pikachu Special Edition, which I did mention that you could pick up if you're going to be, you know, looking for the more collector version because you want the coolest one. Yeah. Thanks for watching.